What's up? What is good? My fault. I'm kind of tired. Just got back in from being outside-ish. We here. This is something new. This is called Lucky People Who Survived the Impossible, Part 1 by Be Amazed. Um, yeah, I don't know what to expect outside of maybe some crazy shit. I don't know. This is kind of a short video by Be Amazed standards, but it's a good one that I can do before I go to bed. So, without further ado, let's jump into it.
Perseverance of the human spirit, the most incredible survival stories are born. Stories that amaze us and make us realize that, in spite of our vulnerabilities, there's a little fighter inside us, ready to take control when the road gets bumpy. Let's find out about these amazing stories that reveal inhuman amounts of luck and unluckiness, depending on how you look at them.
Just a disclaimer, I am not normally this quiet. I am just like absurdly tired. So I'm gonna give y'all I'm gonna give y'all all of me for the reaction, but then just know once this video ends, I'm probably gonna be passed down in this chair asleep. So, let's get it. Again.
Number 10. Frank Selick. If luck's a superpower, this Croatian music teacher definitely has it. He survived a derailed train, a plane crash, 3 flaming cars, and 2 bus crashes, becoming both the luckiest and unluckiest man alive. After cheating death 7 times, you might have thought Selick's luck had run its course, but you'd be wrong. He purchased his first ever lottery ticket and won the equivalent of just over $1 million at the time. He decided to give it all away to family and friends, saying his health and his wife is all he needs to be happy. But apparently the 7 accidents weren't the only disasters in his life. He also adds 6 previous marriages to that list. Number 9.
Oh, okay, so this ain't like a... Okay, I thought that was gonna end like terrible or something. Okay, that's... I guess that's good. He lived. Granted, yeah, all that. You might be like, whoa, that's crazy. Plane crashes and all that. Hey, that's life. I don't know what you expect.
Tomo Yamaguchi. Amazingly, this man has experienced 2 nuclear explosions at Ground Zero and survived both to tell the tale. On the 6th of August in 1945, he was in Hiroshima on a business trip.
I don't think I should give my views on this whole situation, but I'm gonna just say it anyway before I whatever. Listen, to be fair, Japan attacked us first. If I'm gonna put it like this, if Japan never hit Pearl Harbor, we don't turn y'all to motherfucking ash art.
When it was nuked by an American bomber. He saw a great flash in the sky as it
regrets.
exploded 3 kilometers away from him. He was blown over, suffered severe burns, ruptured his eardrums, and was temporarily blinded. He then returned home, 180 miles to the west, where he received treatment for his wounds. His hometown, Nagasaki, was then hit by the second U.S. atomic bomb.
I'm not laughing, but that is definitely unlucky as fuck. You get hit with 1 atomic bomb just to go home and get hit by another one. God's trying to tell you something.
To strike Japan. Despite around 200,000 people dying from the bombings, he's the only survivor of both bombings recognized by the government of Japan. Still, he lived to the age of 93, though he did start to suffer from radiation-related ailments later in life. Number 8. Paul Templar. This man spent his 20s at...
I'm trying my hardest not to make fun of his people, but like how his head was like pointy.
As a safari guide, which led him to ending up inside of a hippo for an afternoon. That day, he was taking clients down Zimbabwe's Zambezi River, when all of a sudden a Range Rover-sized monster hippo of about 4.5 meters long and 1.5 meters high knocked one of his pals out of his canoe. As he paddled towards his friend, the hippo cruised towards him, rippling...
Hippos, you don't fuck with a hippo. Hippo are basically water rhinos. They're gonna just fuck shit up.
The water like a torpedo cutting through the water. As he turned to grab his friend, all of a sudden, everything became dark, slimy, and smelly.
Aww.
He was underwater, but his waist up wasn't wet like his legs were. Turns out he was head first up to his waist in the hippo's mouth. He wriggled until the hippo opened its jaws wide enough for him to make an escape. But hippos are notoriously ruthless. killing more people in Africa than any other animal. So it struck again.
Bruh. At that point, just kill me. If I gotta feel the inside of an animal and I'm still alive, bro, just kill me.
Dragging him back under the surface. After what felt like ages, the hippo lurched suddenly for the surface, spitting him out. But maybe it was because his feet looked tastier, as the hippo quickly swallowed Paul again. This time, feet first. Though Paul scratched and punched away at it, he figured that by holding the hippo's canine tusks, which were boring through him, his flesh wouldn't tear so much. That's probably what led to the hippo releasing him, as it grew frustrated that he wasn't being ripped into 100 different pieces. It took Paul 8 agonizing hours to get to a hospital without any painkillers, and he admitted that the pain was so intense he considered suicide. In the end,
I mean, you just got basically deep-throated by a hippo, or a hippo deep-throated you. Somebody got deep-throated here. The hippo was on some freaky shit and wanted to do something. I don't know. Somebody called the cops on that hippo. That hippo was a fucking sexual predator, for all we know.
his arm was
Freaky
crushed
ass
to a
hippo.
pulp. He had a wound so deep his lung was visible, and a
Dang.
doctor counted 40 puncture wounds on his body. He survived and wrote a book on the ordeal. Number 7. Max Suter. Picture sitting on your couch, doing some channel surfing, when suddenly, the floor starts moving like jello.
Earthquake.
The wall in front of you disappears, and a 150-mile-per-hour tornado takes you
Oh,
for a
wait.
nasty ride 40 meters into the air. There's no surviving a ride like that. That is, unless you're Matt Suter. In 2006, the 19-year-old Missouri native was in his grandmother's trailer when a massive force hit the trailer, wrecking everything around him. Wearing only his underpants, Matt was sucked out of the trailer into the raging darkness beyond. By the time he regained consciousness, the twister had tossed him 400 meters away in a grass field. He broke the record for the longest distance a human being has ever survived being flung, a record initially held by a 9-year-old girl who rode a tornado for 300 meters. Number 6, Anatoly Petrovich.
Yeah, this might be the last video ever put on the Eddie Sire channel, just because I think I found my new passion in life. I think I'm about to be a tornado rider. Fuck it.
Petrovich-Prigorski. Russian scientist Anatoly Petrovich-Prigorski is best known for accidentally sticking his head in front of charged particles that were traveling almost at the speed of light. He was checking a malfunctioning piece of equipment at the U-70 synchrotron particle accelerator when the safety mechanisms failed. Although I doubt he wanted it this way, experiencing and surviving that could be considered a contribution to science in itself. He reported seeing a flash brighter than 1,000 suns, but didn't feel any pain. Still, over the next several days, his face swelled up beyond recognition and started peeling off, revealing the path that the proton beam had burned through his face. Though he received far in excess of a fatal dose of radiation, he survived, and even completed his PhD. Believe it or not, the freaky part comes just now. Looking at Prigorski now, you'll notice that the right half of his face is aged, while the left half looks as if it was frozen in time 22 years ago. Maybe there's something to it? Take that, Botox. Number 5, Harrison Okene.
I don't. That one is actually kind of crazy. I don't know how to feel about that one. But yet again, we don't know about, like, at least me personally speaking. I don't know shit about science, like particle acceleration, neutrons, protons. I don't know.
Some people would argue that a bad day at sea is still better than a good day at the office, but Harrison Okene doesn't quite agree with that. In May 2013, Okene was working as a cook on a tugboat moving through stormy waters of the coast of Nigeria, where a sudden rogue wave slammed into the vessel and the ship began to sink. He managed to find a...
And on that point on, I would not even try to fight. I can't swim as it is, so the minute, that's why y'all never catch me on the water to begin with. Because if I'm on a boat and that shit sinks, that's it. There's nothing I can do. Like, I think I can swim underwater. I think. Because, you know, you gotta pull back in. You can just swim underwater so freely. I feel like I could do that if there's no, like, super crazy currents. I feel like I can do it.
small pocket of air in the engineer's
For like 2
office,
seconds.
but the boat had landed upside down on the seafloor, 300 meters below the surface.
Nope.
Facing a staggering number of lethal threats and forced to hear how his crewmates were devoured by sharks, he'd started losing hope. 3 days later, a group of salvage divers looking for bodies were shocked to see a human hand waving at them through an opening in the shipwreck. Understandably, his miraculous rescue went viral after it was posted online. Number 4, Wenceslas Mogel. Pancho Villa was a Mexican revolutionary general and one of the most prominent figures of the Mexican Revolution, even starring in Hollywood films as himself. After his defeat by the Constitutionalists in 1915, northern rebels faced harsh punishments by regional de facto armies. Among his supporters was a guy called Wenceslas Mogel, who was sentenced to execution by a firing squad without trial. But Mogel had one last card up his sleeve. He was really good at not dying. Despite being shot 10 times, including one shot to his head, Mogel survived. He then waited for his executioners to leave and miraculously left the scene to make his way to safety, where he received medical attention and recovered. Number 3, Eric Nerhus.
How do you, what? You just wake up one day and be like, oh yeah, that's right, I can't die. How the fuck? Meanwhile, I trip. I'm gonna die like stepping on a fucking Lego or some shit. I step on a Lego, I'm just gonna fucking explode.
Eric Nerhus was diving for abalone shellfish off Cape Howie, Sydney, with his son and group of friends. In the 10-meter deep water, visibility was very limited, but everything became more confusing when he encountered some kind of a dark cave. Seconds later, he realized the cave was actually a great white shark. His head, a shoulder, and arm were inside the shark's mouth, and 3,000 teeth were biting down on his body. When the great white started shaking him, that's when he realized he was going to be turned into fish food. Spending about 2 minutes in the shark's mouth without his air supply, he used his abalone tool and stabbed the shark several times in its eye. The shark let go and circled him, after which he put his regulator back into his mouth. He then had to slowly rise to the surface to avoid the bends when he was pulled up by his shocked teenage son, Mark. Number 2, Mauro Prosperi.
These are moving too fast for me right now. I think that's why I like the longer video format, cause like it breaks everything down for me. This shit is going way too fucking quick for me right now. I do not like it. I don't like it. Like, he got attacked by a shark, boom, and then he floated up, and then boom, like his son got him out the water. Story over. It's like, bro, like slow it down a little bit.
The Marathon des Sables isn't considered the toughest athletic event on Earth for nothing.
If I get this right, if I guess this story right, just know I'm not bullshitting when I tell you I'll be on the internet for real. It's gonna tell me he got lost off trail for like probably, I might be tripping, but maybe like 3 days. I think I heard of this story before.
The 6-day, 155-mile run through the Sahara Desert leaves us mortals gasping for air just thinking about it. In 1994, Mauro Prosperi thought it was worth trying, but partway through the event, a storm caused him to lose direction, ultimately running several hundred kilometers into Algeria. After 36 hours, he ran out of food and water, so he switched to a diet of bats, the occasional desert snakes, and his own urine. Lost in one of the most inhospitable places on Earth, he tried to slit his wrists, but the lack of water caused his blood to thicken and clotted the wound. He took this as a sign that he should keep living, and kept walking across the desert. On day 8, he discovered an oasis. The next morning, he bumped into...
Day 8, my fault. I thought this was like a... but I definitely heard of this story.
Some shepherds who summoned rescuers. Now, before I tell you about the most amazing tale of an incredibly lucky/unlucky forest ranger, here are a few honorable mentions you won't believe.
Oh, okay.
To start, this guy, who was lucky enough to have the common sense to wear eye protection. What you see lodged into his safety specs is an angle grinder disc that would have almost definitely blinded him if he wasn't a sensible human. Take this as a lesson: wear your protective equipment. Next up, a reminder to get your tetanus shot. Had this rusty nail penetrated his foot, this person would have felt pain like no other. Here's another one, but this...
As somebody who used to step on nails, not like for fun, but like that was just my luck back then, stepping on fucking any sharp object for some reason. That speaks to me. That shit hurts.
This time it went through the shoe and between his toes. Sure, a nail to the foot hurts, but it's also a common way of getting tetanus, as rusty nails are habitat for tetanus bacterium. And if you've watched our video on the most painful things people have experienced, you'll know just how painful tetanus is. Now for the luckiest driver in the world. One driver in China accidentally hit the accelerator instead of the brake, and nearly shot off a 50-foot rooftop car park. The car perched over the edge, with just enough room for them to walk away from the driver's near-fatal mistake. Now, on to the amazing story taking the top spot.
Let's go.
Number 1, Roy Sullivan.
before we get to the end of this, I just want to think, hey, how y'all doing? I mean, life. How's the kids? I mean, how's the dog? Did you feed the dog today? What about the cat? What about your goldfish? I mean, any other animals? Your blue horned beetle. Did you clean your blue horned beetle today?
The probability of someone being struck by lightning during an 80-year lifetime is about 1 in 10,000.
Dude, dang.
So you can understand why
Good
everyone
odds.
says lightning doesn't strike twice. Everyone except this guy. Roy, a Virginia forest ranger, was apparently a natural conductor of electricity. He beat those odds 7 times. In fact,
Can we just put something into perspective here on first of all, I'm a yawn because I'm tired of shit. Second of all, this man got hit by lightning 7 fucking times and decided to walk it off. At this point, I'm convinced this motherfucker is the Avogadro from Black Ops 2.
this is the odds of getting struck 7 times in a lifetime like he did. I bet you don't even know what that number is called. Those
Avogadro.
odds are 1 in 10 octillion. Though, of
Avogadro.
course, by his nature of work, the odds would be lower for Roy, since his work exposed him to more storms than the average person. He survived each jolt, but not unharmed. The first one only tested the waters and knocked his big toenail off. In 1969, a second strike burned off his eyebrows and knocked him unconscious. In 1970, another strike
Damn.
left his shoulders seared. The last jolt sent him to the hospital with chest and stomach burns, but also put him in the Guinness Book of World Records for most lightning strikes survived.
Oh, look at this ball spot. Where's this ball spot? Where's my ball spot? Can you see it? I can't see it if y'all can see it. I don't know. My ball spot is disappointed in this.
In the end, when Sullivan
How the fuck this man get hit 7 times by lightning? But I swear to God, if I push too hard while taking a shit, I shit out like half my internal organs.
did pass away, it was a self-inflicted bullet, not a bolt, that did him in. Reportedly, he was rejected in love, but I'd say it's more likely he just had enough of Zeus's thunderbolt. So, which person did you think was...
I don't know. I'm pretty sure getting struck by lightning will cause anybody to reconsider their lives, let alone getting hit 7 times by lightning. On that note, I'm out. Everybody stay safe. I will probably see y'all later on for a live stream. Don't hold me to that.